You may have had the chance to see some of the footage shot by our cameraman in the Gaza Strip, widely shared online, showing a group of men waving a white flag, representing no threat whatsoever, unarmed, and moving south to try and reach some relatives. The IDF opened fire, as you can see on that video, and killed one of them, Abu Salul. I wonder what your response to that is, and whether you think from watching that video whether that potentially represents a war crime.
I have seen that footage, but I am not going to comment on the specifics around that, given I'm not aware of the full circumstances on the ground. And as we've said before, this is not an American operation. As a general matter, though, we have not parsed our words about the moral and strategic imperative that the government of Israel and the Israeli security forces have to take every effort possible to minimize civilian casualties and minimize impact on civilians. As it relates to the footage that your organization has shared, again, I'm just going to refrain from commenting on specific operations, as we do not have full circumstances of what on the ground from here. This isn't an American operation. I'm not on the ground there to speak to the full parameters of the situation. But again, any civilian death is heartbreaking, and any civilian life lost is one too many. And we have made that clear with the Israelis, and will continue to do so.
Beyond that comment about it being heartbreaking, which is a platitude we often hear, would you urge, given that you broadly support the IDF operations in the Gaza Strip, would you support an Israeli investigation of what happened in that video? Given that they're waving a white flag and they represented no threat.
That is for the IDF to undertake and determine based on the circumstances of that situation.
Did you actually reach out specifically to Israel about this footage and try to get whatever the facts that you guys are seeking?
This footage just arrived earlier this morning, so I don't have any specifics of our diplomatic conversations around this to speak to.
How about the footage that arose last week and the week before and the week before and the week before and the week before, where there have been similar, awfully close instances? Have you ever gotten an explanation from the Israelis? Have you ever gotten a finding from the Israelis?
I'm not going to speak to private diplomatic conversations, Matt, but this is something that we raise continuously with the Israelis.
Okay, well, have you ever gotten an answer from the Israelis?
I'm not going to speak to the privacy of certain diplomatic conversations, Matt.
When you are asked specific questions like this relating to specific footage, and this is not the first time that this has happened. You've been asked repeatedly about this, and then you come back and say, well, we've raised questions with you. We've asked the Israelis questions. Have you ever gotten a response to any of those?
We have. These conversations are private. We have raised with the Israelis specific circumstances, and we have
you have
received
gotten answers?
Correct. I'm not going to speak to those conversations right now.
In any case, are you aware of that the Israelis say, we screwed up here?
I'm just not going to speak to the private conversations, Matt.
Are you planning to ask about this particular instance or no?
I'm just not going to speak to specific diplomatic conversations.
Do you have any comment to the UNRWA saying that a UN shelter was shelled by tanks in Khan Yunis today, killing 9 people? They say it is a UN shelter. They're calling it a blatant violation of the rules of war.
Incredibly concerning. Incredibly concerning, Leon. When we deplore today's attack on the UN's Khan Yunis training center. You've heard me say it before. You've heard the secretary say it before. But civilians must be protected.
So have you asked the Israelis to look into this?
I'm not going to read out every single conversation that we have with the Israelis, or read out every issue that happens.
I don't think you're asked about every single
or every issue that happens in the region.
Look, you've been like twice here in the last 3 minutes. You've been asked about 2 specific incidents. Have you raised?
We continue to raise with our Israeli partners the need and the responsibility that they have to protect UN facilities and to protect humanitarian workers. We are asking and engaging about specific incidents, Matt. I'm not going to specifically read them out to you from up here.
If they respond to you, you need to come back and tell us what they say.
Matt, certain conversations, diplomatic conversations, sensitive, tough diplomatic conversations, are best kept private. I assure you, though, we are raising these issues directly with our Israeli counterparts, and will continue to do so.
That assurance doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot if you're not able to say that you've gotten any response. I mean, you are the biggest supporter of the Israeli government. And if you can't, if you ask questions about troubling incidents, which you just said that this one in Khan Yunis was incredibly concerning, and we deplore the attack.
Matt, we'll intend to continue to have these conversations with the Israeli government and raise these very tough and difficult situations.